Hello students, good morning. In the last session we have discussed about the brief biography of John Milton, one of the greatest writers in English literature. In this session we will study about a sonnet written by John Milton, that is, How Soon Hath the Time. At the end of this session you will be able to explain the sonnet, identify its theme, analyze the structure and explain the poetic devices used in it. Before actually getting into the text, let us know a brief background of this sonnet. This sonnet is purely autobiographical in nature, and Milton was graduated from Cambridge University at the age of 23 when he wrote this sonnet. He faced many moral and intellectual dilemma. Moral in the sense he was a purist by sympathy, and he doesn't want to work as a profession or in a job in a church which was considered to be one of the greatest profession at that time. He found himself unsuitable for the church position, and at that time his intellectual capacities were unsuitable. Though he was graduated from a Cambridge University and a scholar from Cambridge University, and he felt that his intellectual capacities were not up to the mark to write an effective poems. Cautiously, he wanted to be a great poet. He wanted to continue his career in writing, but he felt that his intellectual capacities were not up to the mark to produce poems which were according to the classicist poets which he had read at his time. And at that time he refused to study law again, which was one of the prestigious course and profession for any educated person at that time. And he had a sense of duty towards God. He had an unshakable faith in God, which could shaken at any point of circumstances, and he felt he had a purpose in life at the age of 23 years itself. So he had decided what he wanted to achieve, what purpose is in front of him. He wanted to become a great poet, and at this time when he was in such a dilemma, intellectual and moral dilemma, he wrote this poem. And let us see what is the theme of the poem. This poem or a sonnet is written and composed in 1631 at the age of 23. 23 years have passed without achieving anything significant. And though he had written many poems and sonnets which were promising at that time, but he himself was not satisfied which he had written, so which were not up to the mark. And you can see that there was a lack of inward ripeness, in the sense though he had written the sonnets and poems, so there was a lack in maturity that made him to be sad when he has got all such thoughts which developed some kind of a depression in his life. But soon the faith or a trust that he had in the God, and which made him to develop a hope that one day or the other, soon or later, he would get capabilities which will enable him to achieve his ambition or an aspiration that you want to be a good poet. Now let us see the actual sonnet which is prescribed for you. How soon hath the time? So this is a Petrarchian in form. So in English there are two varieties of sonnets. One is Shakespearean sonnet, another one is Petrarchian sonnet. Shakespearean sonnets generally will have three quatrains, each of 4 lines and a last 2 lines couplet, and any sonnet will be of a 14 lines poem. And Petrarchian sonnet again will be of 14 lines, but it will have a 2 stanzas. One is 8 lines, another one is 6 lines. The 8 lines stanza we call it as a octave, and the sixth line stanza we call it as a sestet. And the rhyming scheme which he had followed in his sonnets were of the kind A B B A and A B B A in the first two quatrains, that is first two 8 lines. And again in the last sestet part, he had followed a rhyming scheme C D E and D C E, that you can see how these are rhymed. And when it comes to a presentation of a thought, the first 8 line octave part as a single complete thought or idea, and there is a change in thought at the sestet part, that is at the 9th line onwards. You can see in the first part there is some kind of a despair or a sadness that he could not produce any good poems, though he had passed 23 years in his lifetime. But in the sestet part, he develops a hope and that he would produce a good poem soon or the later, when he trusts God and when the blessings of the God will be on him. Now let us go actually into the text. So please have the textbooks before you. I'm going to read the lines of the actual text. The sonnet. How soon hath time? How soon hath the time, the subtle thief of youth, stolen on his wing my 23rd year? My hasting days fly on with full career, but my late spring no bud, no blossom showeth. These 4 lines, we call it as the first quatrain of an octave part. So you can see that. So how soon hath the time? How quickly? Hath means has. The time. How soon, quickly, the time. The subtle thief of the youth. Here, the subtle means hidden. Thief of youth. You can see here the Milton considering the time as a thief. And this thief, the time, had stolen or taken away without the knowledge of a owner, that is stolen on his wing my 23rd year. So from these lines we can see that the time has been considered as a hidden thief. However, a thief takes away the things, hiding the owner without the knowledge of a owner. Here also the time had taken away his 23 years without his knowledge. He does not know how the 23 years has passed so quickly. So here the time has stolen. What the time has stolen? His youth. How it has stolen the youth? Very quickly without his knowledge, just like a bird, winged bird. Again here the time has been compared to a winged creature or a bird. Just like a bird, however, it flies soon. The 23 years of time has passed very soon. My hasting days fly on with the full career. Here, days refers to 23 years have passed with a full career, means full speed without his consciousness. But my late spring no bud or blossom showeth. Here he is considering youth as a spring. Just like a spring will produce the buds and the blossoms, here his youth has not produced any significant poetry. So he meant to say that though he has reached a youthhood 23 years, so he has not produced or he has not created any wonderful poems. Perhaps my semblance might deceive the truth that I to manhood am arrived so near, and inward ripeness doth much less appear, that some more timely happy spirits endured. In the next quatrain, the poet John Milton, he says, perhaps my semblance refers to outward appearance, probably a physical appearance. My appearance might deceive the truth, might hide the truth. might not speak the fact or a truth, so might deceive the truth that I to manhood am arrived so near. That is, his physical appearance will hide the fact that he has reached a manhood, he has become a man. So it is he is though he has become a man, he is appearing like a boy or a youth, and inward ripeness doth much less appear. And also he feels that inward ripeness refers to his intellectuality also not much advanced or developed at this age, that some more timely happy spirits endured, in the sense it might take some more time which for him to ripen his intellectuality or to develop his intellectuality in a full way, or to develop his potentiality to the extent of producing the good poems. This is the octave part of the poem. You can see that here there is some kind of a repentance, a sadness. The poet is expressing that though 23 years have passed, he has not achieved anything which others would appreciate. And again in the next set part, there is a change in the thought. Yet be it less or more, or soon or slow, it shall be still in strictest measures even. So though in intellectuality may appear in less or more, it may appear less or it may appear more, it may appear very soon or it may take some time, it shall be still in a strictest measures even, obviously. So it will happen in a strictest way according to the will of the God, at the design of the God, to that same lot, however mean or high, towards which time leads me and will of the heaven. So whatever an intellectuality develops, it may develop less or more, or soon or later, or it may develop in a very high measure or a mean measure, but it will develop according to the destiny or a will of the God, or it may be however the God has designed a fate for anyone. All is if I have grace to use it so as ever in my great taskmaster's eye. Again he is expressing his strong faith in a God, a trust in a God, that if the grace of a God is on him, or a blessing of a God is on him, and he would definitely produce an effective poems and achieve his ambition. So you can see that here the poet at the end expresses a hope that one day or the other he would achieve his goal, that he would become a great poet. Thank you.